Welcome back to another NFL breakdown. Of course, this is going to be for week 14, which was a crazy week, which we saw everything from blowouts to close games to the best game of the season. And we have to get into that. Let's overreact to all of this stuff because it's just about playoff time. So, really getting down to it, this season has really flown by. But I am your host, Ross Allen, joined alongside by AK, Alexander Kropp, and he's going to be the one breaking this stuff down with us. Alex, you ready for this?
I am ready, but I mean, the start of this kind of made me depressed because you said week 14. I mean, are you saying there's 3 weeks left? I mean, so what does that mean? We have 3 weeks left and then 4 weeks of playoffs. So 7 more weeks of God, that
How,
sucks.
especially for all of you fantasy players, how do we already get to playoffs? And how
I
did I
know.
already lose in 3 out of my 4 leagues in the first week? Oh, I'm going to die.
Because you're not good. That's it.
Yeah, but in the one league that I did win, I blew them out, and I should have won another league. But guess what? I didn't start Miles Sanders, and that's a game we're going to get into a little bit later. But let's start this thing off with the course right game by game breakdown. We're going to kick things off with the Thursday night game. We had the rematch of Super Bowl 53. We all remember that is the most exciting Super Bowl of all time. Of course, with the final score 13-3. We're really just on the edge of our seats the whole time. Yeah, we could say that this game was a lot better. Hey, look, you Patriots, you match the score that the Rams put up. It was 24-3. It's because that Rams defense absolutely dominated. Pick six, held the Pats to 220 yards, only 10 first downs. And then also you had Cam Akers going off with his best game of his career by far. And with this win, the Rams clinched their fourth straight winning season. Of course, remember all those 8-8 seasons that the St. Louis Rams got really accustomed to, and the Pats snapped their 11 season AFC East championship streak.
Crazy to see a dynasty fall at the hands of the same team that they beat in the Super Bowl. I mean, I think this definitely put the nail in the coffin for the Patriots this year, and it's almost like an indictment on Cam as an offense. I think there's no chance they bring him back next year. Putting up 3 points. Granted, it's the Rams defense, and I'm going to continue to give myself a pat on the back for this team because I've told you since week one that this team is the most complete team in the NFC, and I mean, with how bad the Saints look this week, it's really tough because they're so close to the top of the NFC. But I think the Rams are the most complete team and they have the best top end talent. And if Cam Akers is going to come out here and rush for 29 for 171, I mean, good luck defenses because that completely opens the door for Jared Goff to do the only thing he does well, which is play action pass.
Yep.
And if their defense is going to play like this and um, gosh, it's going to be really hard to stop this team because they're going to control the ball. They're going to dominate on defense. Their defensive line is crazy good. They have the best corner in the league, best cover corner. And if they get a run game going with that play action pass game that they have, it's going to be hard to stop this team.
I really don't know what you're going to do with that. I mean, we're talking Bills. Maybe it was going to be the Saints or the Rams, the team that could beat the Chiefs. Who knows? I mean, we're still a little bit away from that, but it's never too early to speculate. Now, also, hats off to Sean McVay for getting his revenge. We know he's been stewing for a hard couple seasons now because he got thoroughly outcoached. In his own words, he got outcoached in that Super Bowl. He goes up and he beats on Bill Belichick. The next game we had was what it was kind of the what if game because we had Mitch Trubisky playing Deshaun Watson. Of course, we've all been beat over the head with this at least 1,000 times. Hey, Alex, but did you know that Mitch Trubisky was taking over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson?
And the Bears traded up. I
And the
didn't know
Bears straight
that.
up? No idea. I mean, I feel like no one ever knows that because no one talks about it. But
No,
Mitch
never.
Trubisky, he really showed out. He helps the Bears end their 6 game losing streak. He throws out for about 260 yards, a few tutters. And once again, it's the big three in Chicago getting it done. Yeah, Mitch, Montgomery, and Robinson. Two of the three, like I said in the past, will not be there next season. At least two of the three. And the Texans, I mean, it helped that the Bears were going up against one of the worst defenses in the league. Really feel bad for you, JJ Watt. You deserve better. Get traded to Pittsburgh so you can complete the holy trio. But and then you have, I mean, what else can we say? The Texans really has some rebuilding to do.
Yeah, I mean this game was just it's kind of a crazy final score. And here's the one gripe I have about David Montgomery is first off, he's not a good running back. He's really, really bad at what he does. He's done this 2 weeks in a row now where he breaks off a long run and you take out the 80-yard touchdown. He's got 10 carries for 33 yards. Like it's just kind of what he does. Is I feel like when I'm scrolling through the play-by-play, it's like David Montgomery rushed for 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yards, 0 yard. Like he's never going to get that huge 10, 12, 14, 15-yard run. He's never going to get behind the line of scrimmage, but he's just a really, really average running back that I honestly didn't know he had this kind of breakaway speed because he hadn't shown it.
Can we call him the luckiest running back in the NFL?
That might be a good tag for him because, I mean, he's never shown this kind of breakaway speed before. And back in two games in 3 days or two games out of the last 3, he goes for a 50+ yard touchdown. Like, how does that happen? But Allen Robinson's the real deal. Mitch played well. I think he's, the quintessential chip on the shoulder here. But I think this is almost worst case scenario for the Bears because this is what they do every single year. They start okay. They have good expectations coming in. They are bad because Mitch Trubisky's still their quarterback. And then at the end of the year, when they're already kind of out of the playoffs and they have nothing to play for, Mitch starts to play a little loosey-goosey, starts to get a little frisky. They win a couple games, and then they keep Ryan Pace. They keep Matt Nagy. They keep Mitch Trubisky.
Can we make that thing real quick, Alex? Frisky Trubisky?
Frisky Trubisky. I mean, that's what he is like back half of the year.
Put that some bitch on t-shirt real quick. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. That thing would fly off the shelves. But, yeah. And so the Texans, Chad Hansen, great receiver out of Cal, but not a number 1 receiver in the NFL. And whoever this Powell guy is, I've never heard of this guy before. And those 2 guys were the top 2 skill position players for the Texans. I mean, they have a lot of work to do here.
And it's even better when you have all this work. And guess what, Alex? You don't have a first-round draft pick this year because some dude with a butt chin screwed you guys hard.
But good thing you have Larry Tunsil protecting nobody.
Right. Oh, boy, that's...
tough break right now.
The passive Bill O'Brien will never die. His legend will always be there in Houston. Staying within the state of Texas, so let's go to the Cowboys. They played the Bengals. They beat them up bad in 30-7. We had the Red Rifle Andy Dalton making his return to the gridiron and his return to the city where hopes and dreams go to die. He throws for about 200 yards, a couple touchdowns. He does enough to get it done. And with this win, Dallas still technically has a chance, not in playoffs, but, well, it's only in the playoffs because of the division title. They're only 2 games out still. And, hey, would you look at this? The Bengals are still a bad football team, Alex. I would not expect that.
Could there be 2 more irrelevant games in last week? I mean, the Cowboys, Bengals, and the Texans, Bears is just... It's tough the way you draw it up. I mean, the schedulers got to be scratching their heads like, God, this is really tough the way this shook out. But, the Cowboys, this is what we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. We thought they were just going to – I mean, when after Dak got hurt, we thought that Andy Dalton could kind of just steady the ship, not turn the ball over, run the offense okay. But what's really concerning about this team is Zeke Elliott looks freaking atrocious. And that contract right now – looks really, really bad. And I don't know if that's something that it's really hard to build a sustained winning team when you're paying that much to a running back and the running back's not playing well right now. So, I mean, I think their only hope is that he, has an off season where he's, not running around in Cabo, not partying, not, doing all these things you don't want to see him and getting caught in the tabloids about doing, but he comes in refreshed with Dak, with all these skill position players. They have a year to develop, and maybe they get an offensive line again, and that gets healthy. And another year under Mike McCarthy, hopefully that gets better. But God, their cap situation right now is really concerning, and it might put them in some cap space jail here if Zeke does not turn it around next year.
Well, you got to ask the question now with Zeke doing stuff like this. A lot of people thought that most of Dak Prescott's success came off of Zeke in the run game. Now can we ask the question, if Zeke's success came off of Dak Prescott, was it the other way around? Then also, if you look at this, Zeke has now been in the NFL. Yes, let's think about that one for a second. Really flip the script on that one. But Zeke has been in the NFL for 5 years now. And since he has came into the league, His yards per game have been on the decline season after season. His rookie year, he had the league rushing tally. He was getting about 109 yards a game. Next season, 98. Next season, 95. Then 85. Now he's all the way down to 64. And this
Oof.
is not the best trend in the world if you are the Dallas Cowboys, as you allude to, especially with that contract situation. And maybe not as bad as Carson Wentz's, but still not the best. And if you're the Cowboys, you really have to hope, like you said, Alex, that Zeke gets it, kind of turns things around. Otherwise, you are going to be in a world of trouble. Moving on to the next game, we had the Chiefs beating the Dolphins in a great game, actually, 33-27. And there's just something about having a 10-point lead against the Chiefs at Hard Rock Stadium that just doesn't work out for you. I'm sure, Alex, you remember this. Good little, good throw it back to the Super Bowl.
All right. This is where we're going already. I didn't even know where you're going with that, and then all of a sudden I just get a knife right in the
Bombshell.
back.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Call you
man.
Caesar. And then they were down 10-0 to start this game. Then they go off. It's the Chiefs offense, so what do? They put up 30 straight. But this Dolphins team, I am so happy that I've been hot on them from preseason to now, and I still love what the Dolphins are doing. They played a very competitive game against the best team in the league right now, and that Dolphins secondary, that whole defense is good, but that
Yeah.
secondary is elite. They forced 3 interceptions from Patrick Mahomes this game, and now you have one of the best cornerbacks, I'd say top 3 cornerback in the league right now, Xavier Howard. 9 interceptions on the season now, and that's more than the Ravens, Packers, Broncos, Bears, Lions, and Cowboys.
Wow. That's crazy.
Take that
The
in.
Ravens and holy crap, that's crazy.
Good defenses there. And
Yeah.
what I like too is the defense looked great. Throw it over to the offense side. I loved, even in defeat, I still really liked what I saw out of Tua. He looked good against a solid Chiefs defense. It's much improved from what I've seen last year so far. He showed a lot of poise, especially as a rookie, when he was leading this comeback attempt, which was almost successful. And it's really obvious who is safety blanket, who is number one target now. That's tight end Mike Gesicki, and he's clearly a vital piece to his game. And the biggest takeaway from here, Alex, is that no one. So the team that's going to beat the Chiefs is a team that can actually control the Chiefs for 4 quarters. No team has ever been able to put up a complete game against the Chiefs. They put up game bits and pieces. They can win a quarter or two. They can win sometimes 3. But that Chiefs offense is so good that you have to win all 4 quarters. No one's able to do that right now.
Yeah, and before we get into this game, I just want to take a quick second and publicly apologize to the whole Gesicki family for the absolutely butchering of that name.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Thank you.
that's fine.
Well, it's hard because it's one of these names where you practice beforehand. And so
Gesicki.
it's a stage fright, bro. It's a stage fright. I don't know what to
I
say.
get you. I get you. I get you. But yeah, no, this was an impressive game out of the Dolphins. Their defense was able to force Patrick Mahomes into a couple throws that he doesn't normally make, and picking off Patrick Mahomes 3 times is almost should be counted as a win some places. That is such an incredible thing to do. And what still scares me about this Chiefs offense is there's something in the back of my head that just makes me think whenever they need to go put a scoring drive together, they can do it without any hesitation.
Well, we saw what they did against the Raiders in Las Vegas. They just
yeah.
they just hey
They could score. They could score at will, and it seems like they're literally on autopilot for the entire game. When they need to, they go down 10. Let's just go rip off 30 straight. That sounds good. And then, they kind of just they do this back and forth. And so if they're ever needed to go in and in a playoff situation, have to play a 60-minute game, I'm just so scared for the team that's got to play this team because they have every single answer for anything the defense throws at him. I mean, you pick off Patrick Mahomes 3 times and he still scores 30 unanswered on you. What are you going to do to stop this guy?
It helps we have that a good special teams return, but still, besides that, that's still 23 points that the offense put up.
It's ridiculous, and this, like you said, this secondary is elite, and he still was able to put up 33 points on him, and this is coming off of a scoreless greater part of the first part of the game, but going back to the other side, Tua, he did look pretty good this game. Him and Gesicki seem to have a pretty good rapport going right now. And so I think the key for this team is they need to get back Preston Williams. So they have, two solid options on the outside. Jakeem Grant can't catch the ball. They don't really have a number 2 receiver. So everything right now is Devontae Parker or Mike Gesicki. And then another huge thing they need is they need a running game. They've cycled through 5-6 running backs this year. And every single year that Tua was at Alabama, he had a stud running back behind him, Najee Harris. I don't know if he was ever there with Damian Harris, but he was there with Josh Jacobs. So he had a lot of good talent at that position, and he was always really good at the zone read, the RPO stuff. And that's just not something the defenses can respect right now. So you get a good running game in there, you get Preston Williams back healthy, give him a number 2 option. I think he's at least showing that he has the potential to be a franchise quarterback, and I think that's all the Dolphins could ask for right now.
See, the thing is, right now, if you're the Dolphins, you're looking for the draft, as you mentioned, probably going to be looking for a running back. Imagine, probably won't happen, but imagine if the Dolphins and you get lucky enough to have some hey, maybe Travis Etienne is a guy that's going to be slept on. Maybe Jared Patterson at Buffalo is a guy that's going to be slept on. Maybe they fall a little bit later into the draft where they shouldn't be. Dolphins able to snag up one of those. That's really going to bring
How about
that.
Najee Harris? Reunite him with his old teammate.
Oh, it'd be too perfect.
The Antioch product.
That would be amazing, and that would really just put that whole team together.
Oh, yeah.
Now the next game, let's move into the Cardinals at the Giants. We had the Cardinals taking this one 26-7. And so you are the New York Giants. You have won 4 straight. You just knocked off Seattle in a good team game. So how do you follow all this up? You go out. You play at home in New Jersey, which is not New York, and you lose in blowout fashion to a team that's also lost 3 in a row. Damn, Giants, you guys are so good, and everything you do at football is amazing. Keep it up, please.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really bad showing, and I think, when you hear a guy has, I don't know if he said it was a torn hamstring or a really bad hamstring strain, but that's just not something, especially for. It's crazy to call Daniel Jones a mobile quarterback, but that's kind of what he is right now. He makes a lot of plays in his legs.
He would have had a really long
throw him
touchdown
out
if he didn't
there.
trip.
Yeah, you put him out there on a bum hamstring with the bad offensive line, just not really giving him a lot of opportunities to succeed there. I don't think the Cardinals played well. The Giants obviously played horrible. Hassan Reddick, 5 sacks is an incredible feat right there.
Franchise check for the Cardinals. That was remarkable.
That's crazy that Chandler Jones or Darnell Dockett never got 5, but that's impressive from Hassan Reddick. I think this also pretty much solidified the NFC playoff picture. I find it hard to believe that the Vikings or the Bears could get back into it. But yeah, this is just kind of a bad game all around. The Cardinals, did what they need to do, got a win. Their offense still doesn't look very good, but let's hope that that picks up and Hopkins can kind of pick back up where he started the year. He seems to be kind of hitting a halt real quick, and he's getting a little frustrated with not getting enough targets. But when you have an offense like that, he's the main guy, so you're going to double him, and they don't have a tight end. They don't have a number 2, number 3 receiving option. Fitzgerald's ancient. Christian Kirk's a deep threat. That's it. Their running back, Kenyon Drake's completely overrated. They don't have a great offensive line. So it's not Kyler and DeAndre. There's not really anything that scares you on that offense. So I think they're really easy to scheme against as long as you can keep Kyler in the pocket.
Well, now the offense wasn't, I'm going to hold your horses real quick. Now the offense wasn't too bad. Keep in mind, take it with a pinch of salt, is the Giants defense. Hopkins still had 9 catches, about 140 yards. Kenyon Drake had a good game. He had a solid game. I don't know. Underrated might be, or overrated might be a little harsh. But
I think Kenyon Drake's completely overrated. I don't think he's a good running back.
Oh, well, that's a topic for another day. But you said the NFC playoff picture right now. As of right now, the seeding sits right now from 1 to 7. Packers, Saints, Rams, football team in the 4th seed. Just remarkable. Seahawks, Bucks, Cardinals. Then you had the Vikings, Bears, Lions all out of it. And then, yeah, I mean, the second best teams are the Vikings and the Bears at 6-7. The Cardinals up there at 7-6. Bucks are there at 8-5. To your point, it's really all about which seed now, and not really which team over there in the NFC. AFC is
Yeah.
still pretty open.
Yeah.
Um, and the Cardinals, with this game, they were able to move back in that 7th seed. They're still only 2 games out of the division, so they're not entirely out of it yet. Now, Alex, the next game that has just left both of us absolutely baffled, and from even watching this game, the Vikings they've won almost every metric in a football game that you can, and they still go out and lose 26-14 to the Bucks. It also didn't help that if you are a Vikings fan, Vikings player, Vikings staff member, Vikings any part of the Vikings, you got put into full-on Vietnam flashbacks during this game to miss kicks because why do they pretty much lose this game? If you want to give a reason, I'm going to give it to this because Dan Bailey, 0 for 3 on field goals, 0 for 1 on PATs, and it's not like they're long field goals, they're mostly 30s, around that kind of yardage. And man, just another bad game. What's up with the kicker curse in Minnesota? What have they done to deserve this?
Dan Bailey, to say that he is shook is the understatement of the year, because this man just looks like he's seeing 18 goalposts out there. He doesn't know which to aim for. But I'm really shocked that he hasn't been cut yet. Maybe I missed that news. But if this man kicks another time, it's just what are you doing if you're the Vikings? You still theoretically had a shot at the playoffs, and I mean you're still
kind of do.
You're still kind of in the hunt. But if you trot Dan Bailey out there for another field goal, I don't understand how you'd expect him to have any other outcome than what he's been doing. But yeah, kind of like you said, this put my mind in a pretzel because I didn't watch a ton of this game, so I had to go back into the stats to try to figure it out. And just here's the stats that blew my mind when I looked back at it: 40-20 time and possession advantage for the Vikings. Vikings had 27 first downs to the Bucks 17. 5 third down conversions each way: 5 for 15 for the Vikings, 5 for 11 for the Bucks. Only 1 turnover in the game for the Vikings. But I think here was the key, right? I mean, obviously the missed field goals, but the negative plays: 6 sacks by the Bucks and 0 for the Vikings. That's not something that you can't sustain offensive drives when you have that many negative plays stacking up. It's just a crazy way that this game kind of shook out because the Vikings dominated the time possession. They had the ball seemingly the whole time. The Bucks didn't look great on offense, had a couple big plays, one to Scotty Miller, had a touchdown to Gronk, but Mike Evans didn't look great. Chris Godwin really doesn't look great. Antonio Brown gets forced gets forced throwing the ball to him. But, I don't have much to give about this game because I still don't know what happens. Like, well, how does this final score make sense?
At least a positive to you if you're a Bucks fan. It doesn't matter how the game goes. A win's a win, and you're now that much closer to your first playoff berth in 13 years, the second longest playoff drought in the NFL. So that's what you got to look forward to. And if you're Brady, hey, Patriots aren't making the playoffs, but who cares anymore because you're on the Bucks. Screw that old team. You moved on, and you're guessing in a better place now. The next game was as my whole bias take on this, it was my favorite game of the season, at least if I'm a Broncos fan. If I'm a Broncos fan. Because they go out, they win 32-27 against the Panthers, who Alex, you may have agreed on that they're just not there yet, but they're going to be a good team with Matt Rule and that coaching staff right there. But Drew Lock easily has hands down the best game of his career: 21 for 27, 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. And the big key here is what we didn't see against the Chiefs, where we saw interceptions, where we've seen all of his mistakes, is him just being this cocky gunslinger that forces the ball down the field. He actually used checkdowns this game. It was amazing. It looked like he looked at Drew Brees' film and just looked, oh, this guy checks off every play. Maybe I'll do that half the time, and I'll be half as good as a quarterback as he is. There's 2 long touchdown passes to KJ Hamler, and he becomes the only quarterback this year to throw for 4+ touchdowns, no interceptions, a plus 75% completion percentage, and a 149 or more passer rating.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like I want to take myself out of this conversation because I have such a bias against this Broncos team
You
because I
really
think they're
hate them.
horrible. I just they're not good. Like they're just not a good team. Drew Lock's a bottom five starting quarterback in the NFL. They have some exciting skill position players. I really, really like KJ Hamler. I wish he went to a different team with a better offense, but I think he's got the mold to become, like your a really kind of souped up version of Percy Harvin and Tavon Austin, where you can give him the ball in end arounds. He's great over the top because he's so freaking fast. Really good with the ball in his hands. Has kind of pretty surprisingly good hands for the type of player he is. Again, we've said it all year. This Panthers defense is very, very young. This is a complete learning experience for him. This isn't a year they were expected to do much, and they've been very competitive. And this Panthers defense and this Panthers team kind of gives me the feel of how the Dolphins were last year when they brought in a new coach. They completely overhauled the culture, had a lot of young players on that team, kind of had a makeshift quarterback for the year. And I think if this is a sleeper team to go up, make a big trade, maybe go draft, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, one of those guys, if they can't get him, at the spot they're picking in. But if you put a good quarterback on this team that completes the offense, you get Christian McCaffrey back, you have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore on the outside, and this defense gets one more year to grow, I think this could be a little sleeper team, especially with the Saints aging. The Bucks are, Tom Brady's not going to be there forever. The Falcons, who knows what their roster is going to look like next year. Right. Yeah, so this Panthers team might be in a pretty good spot in the NFC South for a couple years. But again, I don't want to continue to talk about this game because I don't like the Broncos. I don't think they're a good team. So when they play like this and they, Drew Lock puts up 21 of 27 for 280 and 4 tuds, I think it's a mirage. I don't think it's real. And I don't want to I don't want to keep raining on your parade here, but I just think this is a flash in the pan.
It might not be real, but if you're the Broncos, this is what happens when you actually play this is how you play when you actually play what you're supposed to do. This is what happens when you actually show up the way you're supposed to. The question for the Broncos is that, A, are we even going to show up today? And B, how many people get injured? Because the Broncos also had, in the span of like 2 weeks, they've had 3 defensive backs go down with torn ACLs. And so
that's tough.
Hey, at least you and me can have this whole thing. Broncos versus Niners in the Injury Bowl. Let's see who wins that one. JV team against JV team. Really great football is what we're going to see right there.
You want to talk about a coaching mismatch?
Yeah, let's not talk about that one. That's a one place. I take Drew Luck over Nick Mullins any day. The next game, we had the Tennessee Titans playing at Jacksonville. The Titans bounce back. They win this game 31-10. And it's another case of Derrick Henry going absolutely crazy. He goes for another 200-plus yard game, another couple touchdowns, and I think he has now more of those than like LT, Barry Sanders, any other good running back you can think of. He has the most. And it's Gardner Minshew who returns this week. And luckily, if you're Jacksonville, Minshew Mania did not ruin the tank. It's also, dude, that AJ Brown catch in the end zone. Woo!
Incredible. I think the Jags played this well because they had to wait for the Titans to get up a couple touchdowns to bring in Gardner Minshew. Right. when Gardner Minshew plays offense and he's running things for the Jags, their offense doesn't look horrible. They can move the ball, they can convert on third downs, he can run a little bit, he's very accurate, and he's obviously a below average starting quarterback, but he's no Mike Glennon, so it's something they can
Mike Glennon, you goat, you're just the best.
I think here's the problem that the Jags have right now is they're kind of in a dilemma here where it would be great to play Gardner Minshew for the last 3 weeks, boost his trade value, get him a couple games to put some stats on the board. But you really can't do that just because
there's too much of a risk to win.
There's way too much risk. So they're in a weird spot here where everyone looking from the outside goes, why don't you play Gardner Minshew? And I haven't seen them come out with a starter for this week, but if it's anyone but Gardner Minshew, it's almost just an indictment of, okay, we're tanking obviously, but this is the most obvious version of it. So The Titans look great. This is their formula every single week. You give the ball to Derrick Henry. You let Ryan Tannehill play action. That's how their offense needs to go. If it doesn't go like that, they're going to lose. If it goes like that, they have a shot to beat anyone.
Yeah, that's 100% it. If they play Titans football, Titans, are they the one to beat the Chiefs? I love asking this question. It's so much
I
fun.
love it.
Because it's probably no one that can, but it's always fun to ask, just at least ask the question. Now, the next game, keeping it in the AFC South, going from the Titans to the Colts. The Colts were at Vegas in that giant Roomba in the desert. And this was a very, very important, a pivotal playoff matchup for both of these teams. And what happens? The Colts rout the Raiders in a 44-27 win on the back of Jonathan Taylor, T.Y. Hilton, and Philip Rivers all getting a pair of touchdowns. It's that Colts defense once again doing a solid job, forcing 3 turnovers. And you can make the argument they really only gave up 20. I mean, they gave up a garbage time TD with like a minute to go. So that's really not that big of a deal. The game was not as close as the score kind of shows, even though it wasn't close at all. The Colts now move to that 6th seed. They stay pace with the Titans in the division. Raiders drop all the way to the 9th seed. And this is almost exactly what you see out of a John Gruden offense. I mean, a team that looks great in the first few weeks. Playoff contenders. Hell, could they win? No, they're not going to win the division. Not the Chiefs are there. But hey, how far can they go in the playoffs? And then, like, you start to see them. They're going. It's like a roller coaster, right? Going, up. Then you get to the top, and then you drop. Okay.
I think we talked about this yesterday too, or this last week. Is John Gruden offense? Or John Gruden teams. They start off really hot, and then everyone kind of gets a little tired of what's going on with their
You
offense,
could
and
only run
they figure it out.
spider Y to banana so many times until it stops working. Okay.
Yeah, it'll work in the first 8 weeks, but you get in the back half of the season, it's just not going to work. But let me do a little exercise here. So I'm going to give you some numbers here, and you just tell me what you think they are.
Okay.
35, 43, 28, 44.
I'm gonna guess total yards per drive for the Raiders.
No, this is the last 4 weeks and how many points the opposing team put up.
Oh, that's
This
even worse.
defense is atrocious. And that
Oh,
28 was to the Jets, the New York Football Jets. This defense is the worst in the league, hands down. Paul Gunther deserved to get fired 3 years ago. Really, really bad. This week, next week, they have 4 defensive starters out. I can't imagine how bad they're going to be. Colts, they're kind of sneaky like the Titans, where they have a formula where if Jonathan Taylor plays like he can and like we all thought he could at the beginning of the year, they have a formula as well. They have a really good defense. Unlike the Titans, their defense actually has the chance to shut down a high-powered offense. I don't know if anyone can shut down the Chiefs, but they have really good team speed on the back end. And I mean, Kenny Moore was making some incredible plays. Darius Leonard's obviously a monster. Buckner and Autry from the front 4 is a really scary combo. And it's a sneaky team where if they, win their first round matchup and get the chance to go up against the Chiefs, it's not a game where I think if the Chiefs played, let's say, I hate to say it, but like the Steelers or another team like that, where it seems like they play a similar style to the Chiefs, but just a lot worse in every category. But the only way that this team's going to lose is a team that can control the ball with a really good run game, has a defense that is secondary base and can get after the quarterback, and that's kind of how the Colts are built right now. So no one has a good chance to beat the Chiefs, but I think the Colts and the Titans have a better shot than most in the AFC right now.
The AFC South is a division, not the best, but those top 2 teams are the Colts and Titans, and two really good teams, and that Colts team is blowing away expectations, at least what we saw preseason from a lot of people. I really believe that they're exceeding expectations throughout the season, and they're putting together a good football team. Was not expecting Philip Rivers to have them in a position like this. I think.
What's crazy is that the Colts and the Titans, I think, more than any other team and more than any other teams in the NFL, are the most hot or cold, where they could be incredible one week and then drop a bomb the next week. And you've seen it multiple times throughout this season. I mean, the Titans beat the brakes off of the Colts, and then the Colts come out and do this, or the Colts come out and put a hammer down on another lesser team, but then they can go ahead and lose to the Browns or do something weird like that, or Phillip Rivers can look like he can't throw the ball 10 yards down the field. So it's just, this is a really, really streaky team, and I think that's what it's going to take to beat the Chiefs, is a really, really streaky team that gets hot at the right time, because if you have any other formula, it's just not going to be able to beat that team.
So in other words, Alex, the only way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs is with luck. Let's move to the next. Let's get to the next game, though, man. We had the Jets going to Seattle.
Are you sure we have to talk about this?
Well, I think it's funny. It's just funny. I mean, the Jets, they go 40-3. Hey, let's go Seattle. So what this is, Seattle they lost to the Giants last week. It's like a kid. They go out, they're playing at the playground. They scrape their knee. They go into the nurse's office and they get a lollipop to make themselves feel better. The Jets are that lollipop. It was just
wow.
It was just like a nothing meaningless game. It was just the layup of layups. And then,
that might be the most disrespectful thing any media person said about the Jets this year, is they're a freaking lollipop. That's good. I like that.
Thank you very much. What can I say? I'm a true professional with this. But it got so bad that, I mean, we were able to be reminded, hey, look, Geno Smith is still in the NFL, because he comes in later in the late, not even that late, but in the
third quarter.
Yeah, in the third quarter. I mean, Russell Wilson's already put up 4 touchdowns. Russell Wilson gets back to the kitchen. He does a little cooking up on the Jets. It's nothing like a little. I mean, he didn't have to cook anything crazy. He went out. He made like a 3-egg omelet, put some cheese on it, and that was good to go. It's Chris Carson with a strong game, about 80 yards, a tuttor. And the Hawks are able to now keep pace with the Rams in that NFC West division. They're both 9-4.
Yeah, the NFC West is, like we all kind of predicted earlier, this is a really, really tight division up top. I thought the Niners were going to be in there.
Well, if the Niners if they didn't have like 30 injuries, this would hands down be the best division in the league, hands down.
I mean, I still think it is.
Still
to be
is.
honest with you, but yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this game. This is like, scheduling Tarleton State for the first game of the year. You go in, you beat up on the bad team, you get some confidence, and you move on to the next week. That's exactly what this Seattle team did. But
it's like Alabama paying Citadel like $2 million to go get smashed on homecoming.
Yeah, to go get the brakes beaten off of them. So good job to the Jets. They showed up.
You're still perfect. Yeah,
I guess. I mean,
hey, they're really still tough. Alex. They're still number one. They're still number one in draft position for next year.
Where it matters. They're number one where it matters.
That's all that matters. Let's get into a game that was actually really good. We had the Packers at the Lions, 31-24. The Packers take down the Lions, and they claimed the AFC North crown again, but it was a very well played game against Detroit. Really back and forth game too throughout the whole game. Rodgers, another 3-touchdown game, and Alex, would you believe it? He threw another touchdown pass to Jones. I mean, it's just the most repetitive thing right now. You have death, you have taxes, and you have Aaron Rodgers and Adam Jones hooking up on a touchdown pass. It's no big surprise.
I think you're meaning Devontae Adams, but
yes,
I will.
Devontae Adams.
I'll take it as it's a late night.
Yeah, I mean this. Thank you. It's finals week. Can we cut me some slack? We all know finals week.
It's freaking crazy. I just pulled this up because I'm trying to remind myself as well. But okay, this is since week 7 when Devontae came back. Mm-hmm. 13 for 196, 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. 7 for 53, 3 touchdowns. 10 for 173 touchdown. 866 touchdown. 7 105 touchdown. 661 touchdown. 10 for 121, 2 touchdowns. 7 for 115 touchdown. He's got a touchdown in every single week since week 7, and he's got 3 games with multiple, 1 with 3 in there. This dude is unreal. And if the defensive coordinator doesn't figure out how to stop Devontae Adams, I mean, I don't know. This is one of the most impressive duos that we've seen in the NFL in the last 10 years. And this is another team that has a formula that they love to do. They love to throw the ball to Devontae Adams, and then once they get up, grind out the clock with Aaron Jones. So it seems like Aaron Rodgers is kind of put himself back into the MVP discussion with Patrick Mahomes going for 3 picks. But yeah, this game should not have been this close. The Lions should not be set within a possession at the end of a game. Stafford gets hurt again, which sucks. I mean, he's got to have the worst luck out of any quarterback in the last 20 years. So
takes that
it
rib
sucks,
injury.
sucks to be him.
And was it also the Lions center that broke his neck? Or sorry, didn't break his neck. He broke his throat. He broke his throat in the game.
Oh, that was the Ragnow, Frank Ragnow. Yeah. That just popped up on ESPN too. It's like Frank Ragnow playing with fractured throat, and you're like, what? It's the most concerning thing I've ever seen. You can't just do that.
It's obviously not as bad, but I feel like fractured throat sounds worse than the broken neck.
Fractured throat sounds the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen an injury highlight like. I mean, you're scrolling through the injury report, you see Frank Ragnow out, fractured neck, or fractured throat. You're like, hold on, what? Is he alive?
Frank Ragnow, football player.
That's all. That's the ultimate football guy move there. Is playing with
an offensive lineman playing with a fractured throat. There ain't nothing better than that. No, and Stafford, he's probably going to miss next week. There is a chance that he's done this year too, and we'll speak a little about that. Speak a little more on that a little later. The next game, something we talked about at the beginning, we had the Saints at the Eagles, and the Eagles pull off one of the biggest upsets in the NFL this season as they win 24-21 in Jalen Hurts' first NFL start. And, I mean, the Saints are, besides the Chiefs, they're the hottest team in the league right now. Going to this, they won some like 10, 11 games straight. And the defense, the Saints defense that hardly gives up 50 rushing yards a game, or like a 50-yard rusher, they give up 100 yards rushing to both Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. And the crazy thing is, it feels like this entire Eagles team really took their play up to a notch or two, because they really stepped up for their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. And they stepped up when that offensive line didn't even give up a sack. While it's probably due to Jalen Hurts being a lot more athletic in the pocket than Carson Wentz, it's still an achievement nonetheless if you're that Eagles team. And the problem here is now is the Saints, they take a bad loss. Hey, you're still first in the division. It might be hard to get that first seed now because you lost to the Packers earlier. If you tie, the Packers have that, but you just got to hope that you win out. And the problem is that you have the Chiefs, at least at home next week, but you have the Kansas City Chiefs to deal with. Hopefully, Breeze will be back because Taysom Hill, we see he's a good fill-in, but I mean, this team is just better with Drew Brees at the quarterback. Taysom Hill is not the guy.
No, Taysom Hill is the ultimate stopgap where he can put together a couple wins and he'll beat teams that he's supposed to beat. But you almost think like, especially against the Chiefs, if Brees is out, I think they have a significantly better chance of winning this game if Jameis Winston plays. And I don't think it's crazy to say that because Taysom Hill, I mean, yeah, he went 3-1 as a starter, but he beat that Broncos team. So that
without the quarterback.
So he's 2-1. I'm forgetting who else he beat, but I guess he beat the Falcons twice, I think, right? Yeah,
good for him.
He beat the Falcons twice. So yeah, it's not really a hard feat this year. But
it's like Tate Bridgewater was better for the Saints than Taysom Hill was.
I honestly, I really think they should give Jameis a shot. If Brees can't play this year, I think Jameis deserves a shot because you're not going to beat the Chiefs with Taysom Hill. You're just not.
No.
You don't have the firepower. If you get down at all, he's shown significantly that he cannot come from behind because he just does not have that great of a pass.
At least with Jameis, you got a guy that's just going to go, hey, I think I see my guy over there by the 3 defenders. Hey, let me just throw the football up to the end zone. See what happens.
Yeah, at least he'll throw the ball.
At least he'll give you a chance.
All Taysom Hill's going to do is try to run over your DB on the outside on 3rd and 9 to get 7 yards. So it's not really going to help you beat the Chiefs. But Eagles look pretty good. This is kind of what you see whenever you have the much maligned starting quarterback get benched. You have every single person steps up on that team. Miles Sanders is, I think everyone forgets how talented that kid is because he doesn't get the touches that he needs to, but he rushed for 100 yards. Jalen Hurts rushes for 100 yards. The O-line plays well. They're finally playing for a quarterback that doesn't like to hold the ball for 10 seconds and give up crazy sacks. So, I think this is a fun experiment. I don't know if this is something that they should go into next year doing, because I think the best way that they can approach this is let Jalen Hurts play the rest of the year, let him put up some good stats, build some momentum, and then trade him to the New England Patriots, because you cannot get rid of the Carson Wentz contract, because no one's going to trade for him with that type of year. His extension hasn't even kicked in yet. The Patriots just had a little test drive with a running quarterback, and I think they like what they see. Cam's not the guy to run that offense because he's fragile and he's built like glass, but with Jalen Hurts running the offense, I think that could be a little frisky team, and I don't think Bill Belichick would be as adverse to trading even like a second or first round pick for Jalen Hurts. So I think that's the way they should finish out this year. Carson Wentz needs to start next year because they don't have any other options just from a cap perspective, but I think that I'm going to call my shot now. If that happens, I think the Patriots are going to be pretty good.
I really love that. I mean, the Patriots had to get a good quarterback, but also they had to worry about the wide receiving core, which is not the best itself. The next game, one of the last ones of the week, we had the ultimate bowl. We had the ultimate bowl game between two teams that just love to choke everything.
Oh boy!
And of course, in great Falcons fashion, they choked this game away as the Chargers come back to beat the Falcons after being down a touchdown late in the game. Chargers win this 20-17 with a walk-off field goal. Yeah, Bagley sinking that game winner as time expires. Yeah, Herbert going out there and have another game. About 250, 2 touchdowns and interception. Yeah, Matt Ryan getting shut the hell down by that Chargers defense. He had a touchdown, 3 interceptions. And I think there's not too much to write home about this. It's just a sloppy game with two teams that aren't that good. And then, the Falcons blowing it in typical Falcon fashion. So at least we had one thing stay constant. But I think the takeaway here is that the Chargers, they had to focus on keeping this defense strong. You had the pieces there. Just keep that defense together. And now you can start really building up that offense around Justin Herbert. Look at the offensive line. That running game is not bad. Just keep Eckler there. That's going to be solid. He has some good wide receivers too. But if you can build the offensive line, really give him even more time in the pocket, it's going to be a good team.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of forget how good Derwin James is in the back end for the Chargers, and he hasn't played the last 2 seasons. So this Chargers defense is not at full strength. I think going into 2021, you have your quarterback. You have arguably 2 premier pass rushers, a great secondary if you get Casey Hayward and Derwin James back and healthy for 2021.
Maybe Chris Harris Jr. can get close to where he was with the Broncos.
Yeah, and then you have a number 1 option on the outside in Keenan Allen, a really good big play threat Mike Williams, an incredibly talented running back in Austin Eckler. They need to upgrade the offensive line. Hunter Henry's a good piece as well. They need the 2 biggest things they need to do is upgrade their offensive line and make a huge overhaul in their coaching staff, because that's, I think, the biggest issue right now.
Anthony Lynn has to go after the season.
No, he has to. He cannot be in charge of a team for the next 5 years. I think he needs to be put on probation for the next couple years. But this is a game of 2 teams.
You say send him to probation, just send him to the Jets. Go to prison.
Yeah, send him to any team that you want to tank for the next year. So
hey, Jags, we got your coach for you.
Yeah, that's his now new niche. Is I know how to be a super nice guy, not know how to run clock, and lose a lot of games that I should have won. So if that's what you're looking for in a head coach, sign him up. But yeah, these 2 teams, this is a game that I think needed to happen because one of them had to win. And I think this was the most hilarious tie ever. But just the last half of the 4th quarter was incredible. You had the Falcons go down, drive, throw a pick. Chargers go back, drive, throw a pick. Falcons then go back, drive, throw a pick. And then you have the Chargers win. But just a hilarious end of that game. You had 3 picks in, I think, 8 minutes. And gosh, these teams are so fun to watch them explode every single week.
Chargers are just electric factory over there in LA. It's just the best. And we can go from a team that doesn't really have a coach, a team that has an awful coach, to 2 teams with fantastic head coaching. We had the football team taking on the Niners, and Washington comes away with this game 23-15. They win their fourth straight as they just kind of wear down the already worn down Niners. Unfortunately, though, Alex Smith leads this game with a calf injury. Haskins takes over, does enough, but if Smith is likely to miss next week, and if he's out for long, this Washington team should be worried because since he took over, Washington has had a top 10 NFL offense. Imagine hearing that one. And the Niners, good for them. They lose this game. They get better draft seeding. So I think it's a net win.
Yeah, we'll take that as a Niners fan. I mean, this is a dead season, obviously, so might as well try to get something positive out of it. But yeah, I think it's pretty crazy to think about that for the Washington football team to have success on offense, they need Alex Smith, which is crazy to think about in 2020.
Just give him the comeback player of the year award already, damn it. Please.
I mean, especially with Big Ben not playing well at all coming back this year, and obviously Cam Newton is nowhere near anything that any of the credentials to be the comeback player of the year. So you might be right on this one. I think we're going head to head. I think I chose Big Ben and you chose Alex Smith.
Hey, it's gonna be really close down to that in the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to that.
No, this is good, but yeah, this
I might have the edge though, just because he's coming back from a worse injury.
Oh, you got the sympathy vote for
exactly.
Sure, but
hey, that's why I picked him. The next game, what we talked about last week was we asked the question is, are the Bills the second best team in the AFC? And we both said yes. And what they do, they go out and they're playing technically the second best team in the AFC with the Steelers, and they go out and they just get Big Fat Dubsky on Monday night. Sunday night, and they get this huge win over the Steelers. The Steelers now lose their second straight. The Bills get another game closer, Alex, to clinching their first division title since 1995. Right? Poor Bills Mafia. I love you guys, though. You really are some of the best, mans. We had Josh Allen throwing for a couple tutters, and we had Stephon Diggs murdering that Steelers secondary. And then, the Bills also going with a pick six, couple of interceptions off of Big Ben to the back end you alluded to a few seconds ago, Alex. And the Steelers, they might have to be worried now because their offense has not been good recently, and their defense can only do so much for them.
Yeah, the Steelers, they have a couple big problems. They can't run the ball. Big Ben can't throw the ball. And the receivers can't catch the ball. I don't know if I'm missing something here, but I think you need at least one of those things to win in the NFL. But their defense is really good. Obviously, we know that. Obviously
you might be on the money with TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and Bud Dupree getting hurt is obviously made a big impact. Minka Fitzpatrick is definitely playing worth his weight in gold right now.
Imagine if Minka was still on the Dolphins.
That would be unreal. If they had Minka, Byron Jones, and Xavier Howard, that is a filthy defensive backfield. But yeah, I mean this Bills team, they look complete. And Josh Allen, if he continues to take control of the ball or take care of the ball and control his offense the way he's been playing, he's been really, really impressive. And I think he's made one of the most drastic jumps from what is this? It's year 2 to year 3 or year 3 to year 4?
Year 2 to 3.
2 to 3, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
same draft class as Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, same draft class as Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and the two
Rosen and Sam Darnold. Oh, aren't those guys just the best of the draft?
Oh yeah, and this is an offense too that doesn't even have John Brown. So, it's just been really impressive to see Josh Allen control this offense the past couple weeks, and I'm excited to see where this team goes in the playoffs.
Are the Bills a team that could beat the Kansas City Chiefs? I guess we'll probably see soon. AFC Championship game, maybe, if we're lucky enough. The next game and the last game of the week and the best game of the season. Not just for what we saw on the field, but also the drama that went on off the field as well. We had the Ravens going to their old home over there into Cleveland. And they win this game 47-42. And we had Lamar Jackson taking a big old Brown on the Browns. We had the Ravens winning a huge divisional matchup, game of the year, like I said, and the Ravens might have just saved their season with this win. It's the running game Who needs passing when you could run for 230 yards and 5 touchdowns if you are the Baltimore Ravens? And then also, best backup in the league, Trace McSorley, the GOAT, takes over for Lamar later in the game. As Lamar leaves with, I'll put in quotes, I'll take his word for it, cramps.
He
But
never said where he had cramps, but he had cramps for sure.
yeah, cramps. Just we all know what kind of run we do when we have to do the business, and we saw exactly how Lamar Jackson was running to that locker room. How quick he pushed out one guy out of the way in the door to get into the locker room. So I think we know what's going
That
on.
was the telltale sign right there. The way he approached the door and coming out.
You
Like,
don't
I
push
mean,
someone away if you have just normal cramps.
no. I mean, you're not rushing to get to the trainer's table. You're rushing to get to the old bowl there, the
You
old
go
white
for the
bowl.
handicap stall with the extra leg room.
Oh yeah.
Then Lamar coming back after Tracy McSorley gets injured after the leading touchdown drive. Lamar comes back in. He caps off the game. They score. The Browns then go back to score with a minute left in a fantastic offensive drive. And then you have the best kicker in the league right now, ice in his veins, the coldest man in all of football. Justin Tucker nailing a 55-yarder like it was nothing with 2 seconds to go. Man,
Yeah,
what
this
a
this
game.
this guy, I mean, this game was unreal. I think that the craziest stat out of this one that I think popped up on the Monday Night Football screen, but I might have seen it on Twitter. But the first time since like 1921 or 1922 where there was 9 rushing touchdowns in the same game, which is
I
crazy
love
because
football so much.
I know. I think these are the two best running offenses in the league right now with as many different options that both of them have. I mean, Chubb and Hunt are incredible.
It's one hell of a
And
1-2
that
punch.
offensive line, whenever they have White Teller in the game, that offensive line are just full of road graders that create these such big holes. Both of those guys run hard. They both can break tackles.
It's too bad. It's
And
a
then,
shame Joe Thomas wasn't able to be on the team for this.
oh, I know. If he just would have,
If
if
he
his
didn't have
parents
the
would have just
tricep,
waited for
man.
like 10 years to have him, he would be
If the
perfect.
tricep
But
didn't happen, he still might be playing. We remember
exactly.
he
And
tore the
then
tricep.
and then the Ravens on the other side, they have so many different weapons as well. When you throw Lamar in there with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and Mark Ingram isn't even getting any touches anymore because, I mean, you have everything you need. You have the dynamic playmaker in Lamar. You have the all-purpose back in J.K. Dobbins, and you got the bowling ball with Gus Edwards. So there's not much more that you need from them. This game was incredible. I think the Ravens defense is showing a lot of holes, and especially their secondary. You said that stat about the interceptions there. Marcus Peters isn't playing well. Their safeties aren't playing well. Calais Campbell is not doing what he needs to be doing right now. Patrick Queen is kind of getting exposed in the pass game. He's making a bunch of tackles, but he's not been able to cover tight ends or running backs. And I think they have a lot of holes in their defense, and it's not this Ray Lewis, Ed Reed led defense anymore. They have, they're like Swiss cheese back there where they just have so many holes. And, Wink Martingale has not been able to dial up what works. And just an incredible game. Justin Tucker, I think he's the only kicker I've ever seen where no matter where he lines up on the field, whether it's a 19-yard field goal or whether it's a 62-yard field goal, you have no doubt that ball is going in. And I don't know if I'm just seeing things or not, but he does this thing on his PATs where I think he's just kind of screwing with everyone because he'll do it from left hash, then right hash, then middle. And it's almost like he's challenging himself to make sure that he's going to be sharp in any other position. He treats the games like practice, which is crazy to me.
Such a good kicker. Also, the best dancer in the locker room, too. We all saw that video. Just the best. But there we go. That's NFL Week 14, all that action. And Alex, let's roll it.
Let's go, watch it. We want the ball, we're going to score.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Dollar bills, y'all.
So we buying or are we selling? Now, Alex, let's get into things. This is our best segment, almost in all the show. One of the best fan favorites of anything we've ever put out. It's a buy or sell segment. So, of course, if you don't know how this goes, we give you 5 statements. You either have the option of buying it or you have the option of selling it. Now, let's get into things. We're starting off hot with this first one. This actually comes fan suggestion from longtime fan Ray Rodriguez. And that is that Derrick Henry is going to rush for 2,000 yards this season. Now, 3 games left. Needs 468 rushing yards in 3 games. That comes out to 156 yards per game. And their next 3 opponents are the Lions, Packers, and Texans. So, Alex, you buying or selling this?
I am going to buy this statement because I'm already seeing just based off who they're playing. He's got 200 against the Lions, 200 against the Texans, and can he squeak out 70 yards against the Packers is how we're going to look at this, because the Lions aren't stopping him. They're going to get up by 1,000,000 points, going to run the ball. And if he goes into that Week 17 matchup with needing anything under 250 yards, this Titans team is just going to feed this man the ball until he can't run anymore. So I love this statement. I think he's I still think he's the second best running back in the league. I think Dalvin Cook is a little more versatile and can do a couple more things because he can catch the ball and he can make guys miss. But Derrick Henry, this guy, if he gets downhill and he gets anywhere past the defensive front 4, there's not a single player that can tackle him one-on-one. So I think he is going to get 2,000. I like this statement. I'm going to buy it.
Alex, I'm going to buy this too. I'm not just going to buy the statement that he's going to be a 2,000-yard rusher. That's not enough for Derrick Henry. It's a crazy year. It's crazy, absolutely everything in 2020. So the only thing that's going to be crazier is, Alex, the NFL single-season rushing record is 2,105 yards. This was set by Eric Dickerson back in I believe 1997, or sometime a little back then. And he averaged 131.6 rushing yards a game. And right now, what we need, like I said, Derrick Henry needs 468 yards to break 2,000. He needs 573 rushing yards to break the 2,105 mark, which is just a little over 191 yards rushing a game. Then with these next 3 teams that they're playing, I'm buying the statement, and I'm buying it that he's going to break the all-time record for most rushing yards in a single season. And you could take that one straight to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, that would be incredible if he did that. I think he would. I think him and Dalvin Cook right now are the 2 running backs that are actually worth their contracts, and these were 2 of the guys that signed big ones in the offseason. So I love this statement. I love Derrick Henry, and I love this Titans team.
I really want to see it too, because that'd just be so cool. Next statement is that after their loss against the Indianapolis Colts, the Raiders' playoff hopes are over.
I think this is one of those statements that's on the discount rack, but like the discount rack of the discount rack. So it's like 40 to 50% off the original 40 to 50% off. So it's basically free, because this is just inevitable at this point. This Raiders team is hopeless. They should have 4 in a row that they've lost if it weren't for Greg Williams gifting them a win at the end of regulation there. But
Right.
This team just looks like they can't stop anyone on defense unless they're going to Darren Waller or deep to Henry Ruggs. They don't really have any other options on offense if Josh Jacobs is going to remain hurt. So the Raiders are definitely in the dumps right now, and if they don't rip off 3 straight here and get a lot of help, their playoffs are toast.
And then you had just a little clearance rack kind of analogy. I'm gonna give you a football themed one. It's Madden 21 after it's been out for 2 months, because this thing's like 70% off now. It's just Madden, god awful game, and let's not even get into that part. Raiders, not a good team. Their next 3 games, they're playing the Chargers, and they're playing the Dolphins, and then they're playing the Broncos. And right now, would not surprise me if they lose all 3 of those to end off the season in perfect Las Vegas. Still in just to carry on the Oakland tradition, Alex. I know they're not there anymore, but it's Oakland tradition just to never be good. And they're just paying homage to their old city, which I think is absolutely remarkable of them.
Well, I think they already won their Super Bowl and beating the Chiefs and almost beating them a second time. So that's the only thing that might be the most impressive feat, second to winning the Super Bowl.
I guess, hats off to you, Raider fans. So fantastic season all around. Now, something we talked about going back to that Packers-Lions game, Matt Stafford did leave the game. He's going to be missing next week. He might miss the season with rib injuries. So, Alex, I got to say, this was the last game we've seen Matt Stafford play in a Lions uniform.
Bye, 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 bye. I love this statement because I want to see Matt Stafford on a different team. Because, first off, I just out of curiosity, I want to see if he can control a good team. I want to see if he can go to a team and that has a comparable defense, that has a comparable head coach, that has, an offensive line that's not going to give him an injury every second week. And so I just really want to see, out of a curiosity standpoint, a really talented quarterback that went first overall go to a situation where he can thrive. And I think he's still got a lot of juice left in him. He's not a spring chicken, but he's got a live arm still. He's one of the most talented just arm talents that we've ever seen in the last 20 years. So I really do want to see him in a different uniform. I want to see him play for a comparable team. So I'm going to buy this statement.
Now, although I would like to see him on a different team because I like Matt Stafford, I still believe he's the most underrated player in the NFL today. Few teams he can go to off the top of my head: Colts, Niners, football team. Those could all be three good destinations for him. But Alex,
throw the Bears in there too.
Oh yeah, good point. Let's throw the Bears
and the Patriots.
Hey, if Jalen Hurts doesn't get traded, then let's go Patriots. And then my whole thing on this though is I'm going to sell the statement purely because of the absolute travesty that is the Detroit Lions franchise. Matt Stafford's just going to be another player that they waste ultimately. They wasted Barry Sanders. He retired early. They wasted Calvin Johnson. He retired early. A lot of that was off of money issues. Now they're going to force Matt Stafford probably to retire early because of injury issues, because they won't put a good team around him. They're not going to trade Matt Stafford because they don't know what the hell they're doing there in Detroit. And I really don't buy them actually wanting. I think the whole thing is, I think Detroit just hates Matt Stafford. They're just, I think that they just hate him. Because, have they done, what good have they done for Matt Stafford there in Detroit? Nothing.
Paid him money.
Besides that,
that's really it. That's literally it.
They pay him money to go out there and get his neck or his back broken. And then now they have rib injuries. It's just a mess. But I just don't believe in the franchise. I believe they're too inept to make a good choice. That's why I'm going to sell the statement. Not that I want him to get traded. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, Alex, the guy that has really been doing it all for the Washington football team, Chase Young, has been scoring touchdowns. He scored his first NFL touchdown this weekend, and he's just getting sacks, getting pressures. He's the reason that front seven, and that Washington front seven is legitimately good, one of the better ones in the league, quite frankly. But I gotta say, Alex, Chase Young is the second best pass rusher in the league right now.
Wow. I think this might surprise you, but I'm going to sell this statement.
Okay.
And I'm going to sell it hard because I think Chase Young is overrated already. You watched that Niners game. He made 3 really good plays when you look in the stat sheet and you go, oh my gosh, he did that. You go back and look at the film for all those 3 plays. The forced fumble, he was not blocked, took a beeline to the running back and laid him out. Yeah, that takes an incredible athlete, and I think Chase Young is a dominant athlete just based off his speed, his whole athletic profile. He's strong, he's fast, he's got really good quick twitch muscles. But it did not take a lot of skill to get that tackle because he was unguarded, took a beeline to the running back and laid him out, caused a fumble. The sack that he had, he was not blocked. Again, he was he detached from the line. He was spying. He saw that the offensive lineman looked the other way, made a good offensive play and made a good defensive play and took a beeline to the quarterback. But again, did not beat someone one-on-one, did not have to shed a block, did not have to beat an offensive lineman. And then the fumble recovery, same exact thing. He dropped in coverage, saw the ball on the ground. Yeah, he's really, really fast for a 250-pounder, 270-pounder, whatever he's listed at. But the 3 plays that he had, he did not have to beat anyone one-on-one. And for a guy that's going to be this great of a pass rusher, he has 0 games this year with multiple sacks. He only has 5.5 on the season. He's only missed 1 week. And I see that he's an incredible talent, incredible athlete, but I don't think he has the pass rushing tools or the pass rushing acumen right now to become a dominant pass rusher because he just hasn't shown it yet. He's got great speed, but that is not going to win in the NFL. Having one talent as a pass rusher is not going to make you an elite Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Aaron Donald. These kind of guys, they have multiple moves. They can shed a double team. They can beat you with power. They can beat you with speed. They can beat you with technique. They can line up all over the place. I think Chase Young is just a one-trick pony that's extremely athletic, extremely fast. And I just don't know if that's going to work like everyone thinks it's going to be at the NFL.
You make some great points here, Alex, but at the same time, I don't like where you're going with this. He might not be making the craziest plays right now. He might not have to with a lot of these plays, but he still is showing a lot of just raw talent, and especially for a rookie, I don't think there's any bit of problem that you're going to have to be able to transform this guy into a elite level athlete. Ron Rivera too, great defensive coach. He's probably going to be able to do some great things with him. I think he just has so much more time to develop. He has raw skill right now. You could really turn him into one of the best pass rushers in the league. But as of right now, going back to the actual statement itself, is he the second best pass rusher in the league? No, he's not. I'm selling this statement just because it's not really an indictment to Chase Young, but it's just because, Alex, you got two people. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald, probably runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. Those guys are just too damn good at football right now. Aaron Donald himself is just a freak of a human. He's alien at this point. So Chase Young, he's not better than those two guys. Chase Young he right now is a top 10 pass rusher. He could maybe work his way into top 5. But as right now, not top 2. I'm going to sell it. But if he ends up being the second best pass rusher in the future, I would not be surprised.
I would be shocked if that happens. And I'm gonna add a little sprinkle to this statement. I think he's gonna be by far the third worst the third worst pass rusher out of the last 3 that came out of Ohio State. I think both the Bosas are gonna be significantly better than him in the NFL.
Hey, I guess only time will tell with that one, like half of our predictions that we make on this show. Now, the last statement of the week is that kind of about the Raiders. And then also in the other way, we were saying that the Ravens might have saved their season with their win over the Browns. But this statement, Alex, the Ravens aren't going to make the playoffs this season. As it stands right now, they are currently the 8th seed. They're 8-5. They're in the AFC North, and they're behind the Miami Dolphins for 8-5 and second in the AFC East. Over there at 6, you have the 9-4 Colts, 5, 9-4 Browns, 4, 9-4 Tennessee Titans. So, what do you think? Are you buying or selling?
I'm gonna sell this every day of the week, because I don't know if you've done this or not, but if you take a look at the old Baltimore Ravens schedule here, they play at home against the Jaguars, at home against the Giants, on the road against the Bengals. Find me a loss in there. Just find one. I mean,
call me blind, but I don't see anything. Okay.
No, this team has no chance to miss the playoffs. They're gonna be 11-5, and even with, I just saw something go across the ticker here in Sports Center. It looks like they have 3 receivers that are going in the COVID protocol. But the good thing is, you don't need anyone to beat the Jaguars. All you need is a competent head coach and a competent offense that's not the New York Jets, and you're gonna be good.
Yeah, it's really hard to go up against that. And then what you have, so they had to, it's pretty much a battle to get to 11-5 at this point. Now, on the other hand, right now you have the division leader. So their way to make the playoffs is probably be by winning the division. It might be hard. It might be the easier route instead of just getting one of these wild card games, because the wild card is the Dolphins, who can very well finish 11-5 as well. Yeah, the Colts, hey, they could finish 12. 11-5 is out of the picture. Same thing for the Browns too. It's kind of crazy. You're probably going to see a lot of 11-5 teams in the AFC. But you look at the Steelers, their remaining games are going to be against the, I believe it's the Bengals, the Colts, and the Browns. Now, likely out of this, they're going to go 1-2. And then if they go 1-2 out of that, they're going to end up 12-4, which is still going to probably put them as a division winner, even though that's probably going to be the weakest division winner we've seen in quite a while. Well, and not counting the NFC East, because let's just not go there.
That's just a joke. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if we go through all the schedules right now, the Ravens and the Dolphins are tied right now for the 7th spot. The Ravens, we already went through their schedule. The Dolphins get to play at home against the Patriots, which is never an easy game because you got Bill Belichick on the other side.
Well, also, but if you do remember, Alex, it seems like every late game or late season game in Miami against the Patriots, Dolphins, like the past 3-4 seasons, have come away with the win. And so it's probably history at this point.
Call that a win. That's fine. But in the last game of the year, they have to go at Buffalo, and they have to go at the Raiders the week before. If you're telling me that this Dolphins team is going to go 3-0 in those 3 games, call me a liar. That's fine.
So it's a 2-1 against a 3-0 essentially is what we're seeing. It's exactly. Who can win the. Oh, this is so tough, man. This is.
Well, the Ravens. I mean, are the Dolphins and the Ravens have the same record right now, right?
Yeah. So it's who has the best record over these next 3 games is going to get them into the playoffs. That's what it comes down to.
The Ravens are going to go 3-0. The Dolphins are going to struggle to get to 2-1. So no brainer to me. The Ravens are not missing the playoffs. Sorry, Dolphins. Try again next year.
This is really hard because I love
that Dolphins team, but the schedule doesn't work out.
It doesn't. It almost might be better for the Dolphins to miss the playoffs this year because it's not like they're going to do much, and that could get them better draft seeding too, marginally at this point.
But they have the Texans draft pick, and
so they're still going to get 2 first-round draft picks. They're going to get maybe a top 5 draft pick with the Texans.
And they have the Steelers pick too, don't they?
Oh, I believe so. Oh yeah, they have like 3 firsts.
They have 3 firsts this year.
So they could be really. Oh man. So if Dolphins makes the playoffs, is not too big. But I mean, all in all, going over this, I'm gonna sell the same just because I think Miami does go 2-1. But if the Ravens lose one of these 3 games, they're just they don't deserve to make the playoffs anyway. They don't deserve to make the playoffs if they lose one of these 3 games. So the Ravens have to make the playoffs. That is going to sell it. But there we go.
I mean, if Trace McSorley wasn't on the IR, I think he could start these 3 games and go 3-0 pretty handily.
Oh, that's just disrespectful, man. But it's disrespectful, but it's 100% honest, completely true and accurate. Just like Trace McSorley's arm, of course, he had the best passer rating going into this game this week. So hey, he's the GOAT. And then that's going to do it for us for our buy or sell segment. Let us know what you think, whether it's in the YouTube comments, on Twitter at 4th Long Radio, Instagram at 4th Long Radio, or of course leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know what you think. But let's
somebody prove me wrong. Chase Young is a fraudulent top pass rusher right now. I don't think he has the skills. Somebody refute me. Somebody pull up some tape of him doing any other type of move than a speed rush outside the outside. But I don't buy it. I don't think he's that developed as a pass rusher yet.
Hey, let's see if someone's able to bring up a good argument to that then. Now, to cap things off, we got our, of course, power rankings. Reminder, last week, going to week 14, we had from 5 to 1. We had the Steelers, who dropped 3 spots, Bills, Packers, Saints, who each moved up 1 spot, and the Chiefs still at number 1. No one jumping out. And on the cusp, you had the Rams, Colts, and Titans. So if you follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, you would have gotten a sneak preview of what we have for this week. But let's start things off. Number 5, you have going from 2 to 5, you had the New Orleans Saints after their bad loss to the Eagles.
Yeah, this is I think this is kind of where they have to be from now on until they get Drew Brees back, until they have a complete offense, because they're playing with a hand tied behind their back right now. Taysom Hill, he literally can't throw the ball, so it's tough to run an offense.
Alex, he had 2 passing touchdowns against one of the best defenses in the league last week. Okay, put some respect.
In garbage time. Good job.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's hard to make a statement against that. Now, to a team that you like preseason, we talked about them at the first game of the weekly breakdown. We have the Rams moving from unranked to number 4 this week. How you feel about this?
I love this Rams team. I really do.
The defense has grown on me so much. It's not the offense. I mean, the offense is good, but this defense is Jalen Ramsey. The most I think is blowing me away.
I think they might have the 2 best players the 2 best defensive players in the league right now.
In their position, at least. In their position.
Definitely. Oh no, definitely the best 2 players in their position. But Jalen Ramsey to see him shut down DK Metcalf like he did and do the same thing to DeAndre Hopkins, this dude is unreal.
He's really good.
He's worth all that money too.
He's really good at football. Shocker there. And that offense just has they can get it done, man. And
They don't need to do much. If Cam Akers is running like that, that's going to be a freaking hard team to stop.
Sean McVay is probably the second best coach on this list right now too.
Yeah.
I think top 5. Now, number 3, moving up again in consecutive weeks, you had the Bills moving on to number 3 as they are the second best team in the AFC. It's not close. And they're just a complete team.
Very complete team. The key to this team is Josh Allen through and through. If he can play like he's been playing, they got a shot against anyone. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, these top 3 quarterbacks for the top 3 teams in the power rankings, I need to see them in like a skills competition. I know we're not doing the Pro Bowl this year, so let's just have these guys go out and just throw the football as far as they can. Because number 2, we have arguably the MVP of the league right now in Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers move up another spot this week. They are the second best team in the league. They've been the top 5 pretty much the whole year, and they've slowly just been scratching their way up to this point.
Yeah, and this you make a great point. Have we seen a collection of quarterbacks that have this much arm talent than Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes? I mean, these guys can make throws from anywhere. They can throw the ball out of the stadium, and they're all decently athletic and can move on the run. And
yeah.
I mean, these 3 quarterbacks are really, really good.
So good. I mean,
So
you got guys that got howitzers in replace of an arm. Okay, these guys are just imagine if it doesn't make sense, but in a video game, you took the power from all these 3 guys and imagine if you combine these guys into one quarterback.
My gosh, I mean, how would you get anything better?
Literally can throw the ball 1,000 yards. So
you take. I mean, just think about this. You take Josh Allen's size and ability to improvise. You take Aaron Rodgers' brain, and you take
Hail
Patrick
Mary
Mahomes.
accuracy and Hail Mary accuracy. Yep.
Yeah, and then you take Patrick Mahomes, everything else, fill in the gaps with him. That's a quarterback that you could put him on a high school team and he would compete in the NFL. I mean, it's just so crazy how talented each of those guys are.
It's really phenomenal. And if you haven't guessed by now, the Chiefs are still the best team in the league. They're at the number 1 spot.
What?
They haven't moved for like 6 weeks consecutively now, and it's no debate. It really is.
None at all.
Every week, if the Chiefs don't lose, it doesn't even matter how they win. If they don't lose, it's like, oh, wonder who the best team in the league is. Oh, wait, it's the Chiefs. Makes my job easy.
Exactly.
But there we go. From 5 to 1, Saints, Rams, Bills, Packers, Chiefs. Same spiel for the buy or sell. Let us know what you think. Instagram, Twitter, 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or over on the YouTube as well. The Steelers drop out of the top 5 this week after a very disappointing loss. And I only kept them in the top 5 last week because they've only lost 1 game, so I didn't want to be too harsh. But no, they're out. Deserve it.
They're out.
Then the teams are really close still. The Seahawks, Colts, and Titans. So I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is how the top of the NFL is shaken out, and I don't see those top 4 teams changing very much throughout the end of the year because I think those are the 4 best teams in the NFL right now.
And hey, Alex, give me the catchphrase. They're the 4 best teams in the league, and
it's not close.
There we go.
And it's not
did
close.
it. You did it. Oh, okay, that's what I live for. Okay. But with that being said, that's going to do it for this week. And before we wrap up, just want to thank our Patreon supporters. You can go go check out the Patreon. Subscribe to it. Only $1 a month is all you really need. Just help out because we really do appreciate it. And you get to get cool stuff like this, like shout outs at the end of the show. One of the best supporters right now is Ray Rodriguez. Go check out the card company that he works with at Big Bat Box on Instagram. Next, thank you, Ryan Watson, for your support. And of course, Neil Wiley. Go check him out on YouTube, Chosen Problems. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it for us this week. Follow us, like I said, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. We kind of have
YouTube.
Facebook. Yeah, subscribe to us on YouTube. YouTube guys have been fantastic in terms of subscribers over the past 28 days. It's really been blowing out of the water. Also, you audio listeners too, hats off to you because we're about to hit 2 consecutive weeks of record streams. And so I really just want to say a big thank you to you guys because it's truly been, these last 2 weeks have been record breaking in terms of show history. And it really does mean a lot. We appreciate the hell out of you. And we're getting close to that Christmas time. And so, and then also what that means, I'll be back visiting the other faces of the show, like you, Alex. And so expect some things that aren't over Zoom. Oh, I can't wait.
Wow.
Right? Big time.
There you go.
Big time. But ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed NFL Week 14. If you didn't, you have screwed loose. There's something wrong with you. Let's get into Week 15. Unfortunately, it's almost the end of the year. But if you're still in your fantasy playoffs, best of luck to you because I know I'm not, and it hurts. So if you guys saw the chance at that trophy, go out there and win it. But with that being said, guys, we'll catch you in the next one.
Go buy some merch.